The Bad Batch. Should we jump straight in?
So the bad...
I'm sorry,
Bad
can I
Batch.
just start with the Bad Batch? Can you imagine if I went, guys, let's call ourselves the Bad Batch? You would laugh at me.
Yeah, I feel like you're almost asking for other clones in the cafeteria who are playing the school bullies to be like, the Sad Batch, as what happens in the
Literally.
episode.
The sun is shining through my window. I'm so sorry. I'm so pale right now. There we go.
I actually loved that scene just because it was so hilarious to me, the image of like 3 identical Tim Ware Morrisons, like both all playing the bullies, like, yeah, Sad Batch, like, and they get lunch thrown at them. But what...
Yeah, I quite enjoyed that scene a bit.
Really?
I like they're all juvenile, like they're at school.
Do you know what? That's the exact word
it.
I was going to use, but not in a positive way.
Well, if you could sum it up, Terry, and give us your review, starting with the word juvenile.
Okay, so I've watched a lot of Dave Filoni cartoons, in like Legend of Korra, Avatar, Clone Wars, and I've never felt like I'm watching like a child's cartoon until The Bad Batch. I felt like I actually was like, this is for children. And that's the first, and I know Star Wars is for children, and that George Lucas always says like, make it for the kids, but I never feel like that. Maybe I'm just getting old.
You want the Pixar method.
so.
You want, something for the kids, but also a little bit more for the adults.
Yeah.
If you've,
I just felt like all the
Yes.
characters were so stocky, and maybe it's because we haven't got that far in Clone Wars yet that I'm not really vibing with them. I don't feel like they're all like well-rounded. And yeah, it felt like a kid's show. Go on.
I think I liked the characters, and I think it came together very nicely for me in the first episode. But the second episode I found was a bit like that kind of stock Mandalorian 30-minute Saturday morning cartoon thing of, oh, we've landed on a planet and here's this scenario we need to fix and now we're gonna bounce. Like, and I feel like
Yeah, I had the exact same problem.
yeah, and the longer running time and the big expansive storyline that we were working with in the first episode with Tarkin and dealing with the fallout of Order 66 and how the Empire's sort of like, changing things around on Camino and they're powerless to stop it was really interesting. And then I feel like the second episode, whilst interesting, didn't quite hit the same highs.
Yeah, I'd agree 100%. I actually enjoyed the first episode. I wasn't looking forward to the show at first, I must admit. But then the first episode, maybe that's why I enjoyed it more. I quite like the characters. I know they're very, caricature archetypes, but I think it kind of works for, Star Wars animated show. I liked the aspect of these 5 clones that are sort of defected, and I like that seeing them sort of that it's almost like if the stormtroopers didn't have that control thing in their head, they also would have stayed with the Jedi almost, or well, at least, I like the thought of that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like the if they had their own choice of free will, they would have possibly have been like, hold on a minute, this is not wrong. And I it's interesting because I always thought that was weird when Execute Order 66 happened. I used to think, oh, were they always just on it? But I like that we kind of got this next explanation of like, oh no, they're just programmed to just do what we command them to do.
They touch on...
and I like that these guys...
Sorry, go on.
No, carry on. Yeah. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that I feel like they touch on a bit of the inhibitor chips in Clone Wars, don't they? And they sort of style it a bit like how the Winter Soldier is like controlled by certain words and stuff and phrases. I liked that, and I liked how alien those clone troopers felt when they were in a sea of them on Camino, and they were like, do they look like they're not altered? And they're all going like, oh, hooray, Palpatine or whatever, and they're all completely indoctrinated. That was nice. I like that it's sort of taken the stance of it's not like because they're on the Empire's side, they've got to do this long-winded like redemption arc where they realise actually the Republic's doing some bad things. Like this first episode,
yeah, I agree.
It's they know where the Jedi stand, they know where they stand, and they're just watching this weirdness unfold around them where every other clone is just like not questioning it, and they're like, "Well, we need to get out of here," kind of thing. I thought that was really a really nice setup.
Yeah, because he says, doesn't he? One of the characters says like, "Oh, you believe me now," about all of them being sort of programmed to do this.
Yeah,
and he's all standing around them, all chanting. And I thought that was cool. I like that. Yeah, and like I said, I agree. I feel like it kind of lost that again with the second episode. I was kind of excited with this first episode because it was like, oh, okay, this is a proper show. We're gonna get this, story thread throughout maybe. But then it kind of went back into that Clone Wars thing of like, oh, here we go on a side mission that doesn't really. We get a couple of character moments, but other than that, it doesn't really further anything. And I know. I think it's because of The Mandalorian where I've become a bit frustrated with that structure now. Whereas like I just expect a little bit more from Star Wars. I think that even though it's a kids show and it's supposed to be, like the Saturday morning cartoon of like something different happens every week, I just feel like it's still, you could still do that for a kids show and have like a linear story throughout.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? That progresses in each episode. And I mean, I think you said while we was watching it, Matt, that it felt like the second episode felt like an episode you would have like in the middle, or do you know what I mean? Like when things are a bit calmer. Once it's just weird to have this very intense long first episode, and then just to have we're back to just this normal format of how we do TV and the Star Wars stuff.
It's that difficult second episode, isn't it, where we've had the big grand opening and there's kind of a temptation to go smaller and go a bit more intimate. But I think oftentimes what happens is you end up with a bit of a flat episode. It was nice, all the themes of parental responsibility and bonding that went on between Omega and the others, and particularly Omega and Hunter. I really liked that moment where he went to scold her and the other clone was like, she's not a soldier, you can't talk to her like that, you need to talk to her like a child, as a protective parent.
That was good.
And that was really nice. But in terms of the overarching situation, they need to get the right chain codes to get off the planet, blah, 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 blah. Like, that was nowhere near as exciting as Tarkin putting them through their paces in the training room in the first episode. But I don't think that's necessarily a reflection of where the series is going in terms of quality. It's just that this episode, I think, could have benefited from, like 4 episodes deep, Crosshair's been up their arsehole. Like, he's been chasing them across the galaxy. Yeah. They finally got a bit of peace and quiet, somewhere to hide out, and now we're getting more of the meditative, contemplative episode. Kind of like episode 5 of Falcon Winter Soldier. Everything's slowed right down.
I feel like they've shot their full load in this first episode. Like, I feel like all the interesting stuff has gone in the first episode, and now I'm a bit worried that it's going to be a bit of a lull for the next episode. Because, how many times have we done that? There is a small person that we must protect and take across the galaxy.
Yeah, we were saying that, weren't we? Because Charlie, when we were watching it, said to me, do you think she's going to have force powers? And I was like, ooh. And then immediately, like, if they do that, then it's exactly like Grogu. Come to think of it, a child that needs to be protected by these warriors, and the child teaches them emotional stability, and they teach them combat. Again, seems very similar to Mandalorian.
Yep.
Didn't they actually...
And the Phantom Menace.
Didn't they actually... There's a rumour that they took... they halted production on Kenobi because it was going to be him protecting Luke, and they felt it was too similar to that kind of story again, and they took it back to the drawing board.
Just think of new stories.
Really?
Star
If you remember, they
Sorry.
Well, I do think there's some of it that feels fresh within a Star Wars space. It does kind of feel to me like this is like their Guardians of the Galaxy. This is their superhero team. You've got each of them with their own specializations and abilities, and the fact they're thought of as this team. Do you know what I mean? That it really speaks to that superhero side of me, which I don't usually like in my Star Wars. I want to keep the superheroes and the Star Wars separate. But the idea of like a band of a-holes that each have their own specializations, you've got Wrecker and you've got the Hunter with the enhanced senses like that. That's a fun concept. And I feel like it's ripe for a Saturday morning format where they just get chucked into a different scenario each week and you got to watch them get out of it.
I think Wrecker is so annoying.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought he was hilarious.
I actually,
he had one of my favourite gags in it.
Maybe it's because we watched Infinity War and Endgame the other day, and I got my fix of Hulk, that I don't need a new Hulk, Because he's just kind of...
I feel like he's less Hulk and more Drax.
No, he doesn't take things as literally as Drax does. Drax isn't dumb, he just takes everything as black and white, whereas the Hulk is like actually dumb. And
I
so
suppose. The Hulk, he's a bit more like
what
the
I liked
Hulk when he's
about
like,
Wrecker is-
I'm smouldering fire. So, Chuggle.
Yeah. What I liked
We
about
need the cards again, don't we?
Yeah, we do. What I liked about the Wrecker, it keeps making me laugh. Okay, I don't know how else to refer to him. The Wrecker is I liked the he's his meathead and stuff, and then later on you have that gag where the what's her name again? The
Omega.
little girl.
Oh, Omega.
grabs the teddy bear, and you think, oh, it's for her. And then later on, when Wrecker's injured, she gives him the teddy bear, and he's like, oh, and it's like, oh, so he's like a baby. He's like a big baby. Like, and it made me. I was like, oh, that's a really interesting idea for his character. That like he just knows to smash, like how a young toddler boy just knows to just smash things up. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I thought that was quite an interesting, different thing to put on that separates him from people like you said, Drax and the Hulk. I thought it was quite funny.
I got a little shark to hold up instead of a talking thing. Why would you want a soldier that's like a baby, though? I don't understand. He is a genetically modified soldier to be part of, like, this elite team. And he's dumb.
I don't think...
But they're the Bad Batch, though, aren't
They
they?
are a bad
they're-
batch, like...
But they're spoiled, aren't they? So I think that's sort of... I think the implication is it's a side effect of, like, his enhanced strength. Maybe.
Okay.
I dig it anyway.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
guys can dig it.
Noted,
Yeah.
Terry is not a fan.
Terry's not a Wrecker fan. I might be. I
Of
might
the
be
Wrecker,
changed.
not a
I'm
fan of the
sorry if
Wrecker.
anybody feels really strongly about Wrecker. Maybe I'll change my mind.
This is a pro-Wrecker podcast. We will hear nothing but pro-Wrecker opinions for the next 15 weeks.
Oh no, I'm gonna get wrecked.
Yeah, Terry, I just want to ask Terry a question. Terry, what do you think of Hunter, then? What do you think of him?
Do you know what? I actually sat there and thought to myself, this is like Rambo, Hulk, and I had another list of like who they all were exactly like, and I can't remember them now. But
Brains
I made
from
a list this morning.
Thunderbirds.
Yes.
Yeah, right, cool.
And I do you know what? I'm actually really impressed with this. Just like tangent, it's one guy that voices like all of the Bad Batch. They've got like the same one guy who does all the clones normally. He does all the Bad Batch. So I just think
D.
that's
Bradley Baker?
Yeah.
Is it D. Bradley? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
him.
nice.
That's amazing.
So and he does all those different. Because I was thinking like, of course, the guy with the creepiest voice would turn out to be the bad one of the Bad Batch. Like,
Well, that's what's
oh yes, I
funny.
talk
Yeah.
like this, so I'm a.
Well, what's
villain."
funny about that is that I think that is it not Tech? It's what's the other one?
Echo.
Echo and Crosshair. I feel like sound very similar. And at one point, I was kind of like, which one's who? And they were talking.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you mentioned it's the same person again.
Yeah. They're similar, but a little bit different. Almost as if they're like clones.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I've
no.
just had a revelation. They're clones.
Wait a minute. If you take a photo of Echo and a photo of Hunter and put them together, they look very similar.
I'm imagining like the Charlie Day meme where he's like, but we've got like picture of the clones stuck on the wall, and we're like,
Wait a minute. I've been thinking about this. the jock bully clones in the cafeteria are the key to everything.
To be fair, I can't count the amount of times that I've gone, oh, I figured it out. I figured something out. And then I've gone to you guys, I figured it out. And you're like, yeah, we know. Yeah, it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear
I
in
don't
the
know what
show.
you mean,
I'm like,
Charlie.
oh,
No, the best thing for me is when you excitedly tell me something that you've told me.
that happens way too much, which is frightening, isn't it, really?
It happens a lot. I mean,
But, like,
you guys
it's
see each
just
other every single day. Like, all the days the same at the minute, you know.
Yeah, we're going to go through all the albums, aren't we? It can't all be greatest hits.
It's true. It's true.
But yeah, like, in terms of, so far, the characters we've seen, which Bad Batches would you say are more your favourites? We already know who Terry hates.
Shall I say who I like?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with positivity for now, yeah.
I do like Hunter. He's a cool guy. How did his face get like that?
I thought it was tattoos.
It's a tattoo, isn't it?
Oh, I like him less now.
I thought maybe you were referring to Hunter from Are You the One, which we've recently been watching.
We've been rinsing. We've rinsed 4 seasons of Are You the One so far.
It's fantastic.
So
it's fantastic.
you watched one episode with us, didn't you, Char?
Yes, I did.
What did you think?
It's the most bizarre study on human beings I've ever seen. It is such a weird show.
It truly is. It truly is.
I need to watch Temptation Island next.
Do you know the premise for Temptation Island, Charlie?
This is when everyone just switches off. They're like, we thought we were going to get here for some Star Wars reviews.
Came here for my Star Wars, nerds.
Yeah.
Not some reality TV American bullshit.
Exactly.
But like, if you like trash, if your guilty pleasure is trash, these are the things for you, because I love trashy TV. Temptation Island is like couples that go to separate houses. So all the boys go to one house and all the girls go to another house, and they have to just like not fuck other people.
Oh wait.
So that video I sent you.
Yes, and for context, people listening or watching, the video Terry sent me was this guy watching his girlfriend cheat on him all the way, and he was watching it as a video on live television. Now, when you showed that to me, I thought when you said that's his girlfriend, I thought you meant like as in
his
like
island girlfriend.
Yeah, like a Love Island type situation where they've just met and like she's known him for a couple of weeks. Oh my god, that's his actual girlfriend.
His actual. I'm pretty sure. I think that's what I've been told. Now I'm scared that someone's going to research it and I'm going to be wrong. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the premise.
Yeah, all those Temptation Island fans that are they're also Bad Batch fans. They're all.
It's such like a weird small Venn diagram, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jiu-Jitsu, Bad Batch.
Well, look, if you're a fan of Are You the One and the Bad Batch, let us know in the comments, please. I want to know if you exist. But yeah, I thought you were talking about Hunter, and then it reminded me of that fantastic moment in the series where all the women in the house are like, you've stuffed a sock down there, Hunter, and they're all mugging him off, and then he doesn't say anything, he just sort of goes like, right, and then he walks off. So obviously, because he doesn't respond, everyone, and indeed us at home, are thinking, oh yeah, he must have put a sock down there, and then he comes out later on, and they ask him to whip it out, and he does, and they're all like, Hunter, wow.
Maybe he's my match.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about Hunter, but now.
Do you think the Bad Batch Hunter is also packing heat?
Do you think that was part of the screening process for getting the clones? Like, are you packing? Or do you think
packing.
if he's not packing, do you think they genetically modified them to be packing?
Well, if
there's no way Tim Ware Morrison isn't packing.
That's what I was going to say. I was about to say the same thing.
So all the clones are packing.
Yeah, I reckon when Count Dooku went on the hunt to find this hunter, he got him down to the final stage, and then he was like... Django, clearly. Big dick energy. Big clone energy.
Of course.
Yeah, I also like Hunter. I think he's probably the most well-rounded. Mm-hmm. The one that I like him, but he's starting to grate on me, is I think whoever Brains is, let's call him Brains. Is it Tech or Echo?
I think he's
Echo.
Tech and...
Oh, is it?
Oh, I don't know, because there's like a robot-y one, isn't there? There's a cyborg one.
Exactly.
I thought Tech was the cyborg one.
See, I thought Tech was the techie guy, and Echo was the cyborg. But...
Anyway, we're calling Brains.
Okay, we'll call him Brains for now, because everyone will know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Fucking nerd guy. He is good, but he does fall into that trope of like... I mean, we were joking about it, weren't we, Charlie? And then he literally did it again as we were joking about it whilst we were watching it. You know... Is it going to be a problem doing this incredibly hard technical thing? No, of course not. I did it 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
How come you didn't tell us about this thing? I thought it was obvious. Like, do you know what I mean, every 2 minutes, everything's obvious. Everything's like child's play for him. He's so goddamn smart. Every 2 seconds.
Is it annoying to be around someone who thinks they're goddamn smart?
It must be, but fortunately you're with someone who is goddamn smart, so it's different.
My exceptional mind.
I just thought it was ironic that you were like, it's annoying when he's like, I thought it was obvious, because I know someone who says things like that.
Do I say things like that?
Yes.
All the time. Oh. You're like,
that's
how
why I don't
how are we
like
going to
him.
do this thing? How are we going to do this thing, Matt? And you're like, I've done it already.
Yeah. How are we gonna upload this podcast? It's Child's Play. Let me show you.
I've already edited it. He's editing it right now as we're recording.
Naturally, I assumed you guys would all be okay with me recording, editing, and cutting and releasing it at the same time.
I'm just imagining like him like sneaking into our rooms, like wearing like wigs and hats just to get it done, putting it all together.
Oh, any more thoughts on the Bad Batch before we wrap up?
Not as much fun as I hoped it would be, but we'll see next week.
Okay.
I enjoyed the first episode a lot, and then the second one made me go. I feel like if you'd have got me last week, and if you'd have got me like, after that first episode, and I'd have been like, oh, I'm so excited for the next one. But then after seeing the next one, I feel like now I'm like, well, maybe I'll be excited for the one after.
See, I had the opposite. Yeah. I wasn't excited for the next one because it dropped while I was watching. And then suddenly I finished and I was like, I've got another episode to watch. It was... Oh,
no, I was not. I was like, the same as Charlie, you know. You should have caught me last week. The only thing I did want to mention before we move into something else is I just realised those of you listening on the audio won't see that I've moved my eyebrows. Complete waste of time. I did like how Crosshair seemed to, of his own accord, be pro-Empire, anti-Jedi, and he seemed to make his own decisions about things. And then it seemed like he was going to turn evil anyway. I liked all that, and I liked the idea that Tarkin was just going to convince him. But instead it became, oh, his chip is still partially working. We can, like, fix it and make him fully evil. And then he just comes back and he's, like, completely converted. I don't like that because I feel like it strips away what was interesting about the characters, and that, yes, just because they can think for themselves doesn't mean they won't think for the Empire necessarily. And also it just sort of, it takes away from what could have been a great moment with Tarkin. You know what I mean? He could have manipulated him into thinking a different way.
I think that's to set up for his redemption. So they can be like, he's not really a bad person, he just has an inhibitor chip.
But it's like Star Wars and redemption.
Yeah, I kind of hope they don't do that. I agree with what you're saying, Matt, but I actually did quite like the idea that they enhanced that part of him. I just like the idea that, you know, he's a clone and he has this, you know, he has a little bit of it, and that they have to sort of, and they're like, he's like, oh, okay, I can control this one then, if he already believes in my beliefs.
See, I would have liked it more if it was more like, let's just go into his genetics and have a little fiddle rather than let's put in this new chip. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's fiddle with his DNA a little bit to bring this on a bit more and to put him to our side, rather than let's put in a floppy disk and make it work.
I just found it unnecessary.
Yeah.
Do you know what
I
mean?
do like the idea all overall that he is now like their antagonist. I think that's cool.
Yeah. And he's got the perfect abilities to be the odd one out, because he can snipe them, he can be on their tail, he can kind of Winter Soldier them.
He's
I just thought it was unnecessary as a character turn, because he was going to do that anyway. Do you know what I mean? He was going to side with the Empire anyway. Why do we need to add in this scene explaining, oh, by the way, just so you know, it's his chip? It's like, why can't it just be of his own accord?
Yeah, I do think that's interesting. I just feel like if they'd have worked alongside the Jedi for that long, I think it'd be very difficult to buy that they would
turn against
side with the other guys.
But I think that's what's interesting about that kind of arc.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? Maybe this whole time he's not really liked the Jedi, or maybe he's just so, you know, as in the real world, people are blindly loyal to certain institutions and nations and stuff. Do you know what I mean? That they will see no other way. So I think it would have been interesting to see him be pro-Empire in kind of a nationalistic sense, or even he just reads the room, you know? Oh, the Jedi are gone, we're the odd ones out, there's clearly a target on our backs because we're this bad batch, so the last thing we want to do right now is stir up Tarkin. We should be kissing his feet. Maybe that's the angle. But I just feel like those angles are more interesting than just, I'll put him in the MRI scanner and afterwards he'll be our villain for this evening.
Here's one I made earlier.
Yeah. Now, of course, your villain doesn't need to go through the appropriate character development because I've got one right here that's just gone through the MRI scanner. But yeah, the Bad Batch. Thumbs up. From me.
Yeah, I mean, first episode, thumbs up. Second episode, thumbs down.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I've got a big old thumbs down so far. Sorry.
For both episodes.
Yeah, I don't know. As I said with the first episode, I just felt like I was watching a kids episode. Like all the characters were so unbelievably stocky, and so were their dialogue. Like I felt like it was like I'm gonna say something tough now. I'm gonna say something quippy now. I'm gonna say something smart. Do you know what I mean? It felt like really ploddy because of that. I can't think of the right words.
Yeah.
Textbook.
So that was my issue.